You're listening to a Brooklyn Nets episode of the Jacob Valk Show. He's breaking down the team's latest goings-on as only he can. Follow him on Twitter at RealJacobValk. Here he is, Jacob Valk.
Hello, Nets fans! Welcome to another Brooklyn Nets episode of the Jacob Valk Show. I am the Jacob Valk, except no imitation. Something very important happened on Friday. The Brooklyn Nets showed that they can win without Kevin Durant. Even more than that, they can win without KD, even if they're down 19 in the second quarter. Even if you almost turned that game off, the Nets still found a way to win. I understand that it was against the Orlando Magic, one of the worst teams in the NBA. But the fact that the Nets were able to come back from 19 down without their best player, the best player in the NBA, and their second best player not being able to score except by shooting free throws, is really impressive. Harden now seems to be getting more calls. That's when he's most effective. It's when he's driving and drawing contact. Can he catch and shoot? Yes. Can he make his own shot? Absolutely. But part of what makes James Harden so great is his ability to get to the free throw line. It's something that early on he was having trouble with. Now it seems like he's figuring it out. 4 of the last 5 games that the Nets have played have seen James Harden attempt at least 11 free throws. You know how many he's missed? 6. He is 57 for 63 from the charity stripe in his last 5 games. He has scored at least 24 points in 4 of those 5 games. The one game he didn't do that in was the Thunder game when the Nets won by 24. That was when Patty Mills absolutely went off. Boy, do I like him. I was dead wrong about Mills. Maybe I was just watching the wrong games. Admittedly, there are a lot of people on this earth that have seen more of Patty Mills than I have. But from what I saw of him with the Blazers and Spurs, I was not crazy about him. I didn't get all the hype. Wow, was I wrong. Wow, do I love this guy. Again, they should have never been down by 19 to the Magic. That's a game that they should have won easily. It shouldn't have been tooth and nail. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you win. It just matters if you win. And the Nets are winning. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're tied with the Bulls for first place in the Eastern Conference. The Kyrie Irving absence really isn't affecting the Nets a ton. Is it affecting them? The answer is yes. But at the end of the day, they're 12-5. They're doing something right. There are very few teams that could withstand the absence of a player like Irving. The Nets, with Durant and Harden, happen to be one of those teams. A guy who scores 25 points a night, and the Nets have the best record in the East without him. That's incredible. Obviously tied with the Bulls, but let me ask you something. Who's the third best player on the Bulls? Lonzo Ball? Nikola Vujovic? Take your pick. If the Bulls are missing one of those guys for an extended period, and I'm not talking 6 games, like the 6 games that Vujovic missed. I'm talking an extended period, double-digit games. The Bulls aren't the top seed anymore. I mean, they do have an issue. You take a look at their 5 losses. They've all been against good teams. The Bucks, the Hornets, the Heat, the Bulls, and the Warriors. Who are they beating? Teams like the Thunder, the Pelicans, the Magic. I mean, give the Nets credit for winning the games that they need to win. The worst team that they lost to was the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets are 10-8. They're 5th in the East. They're a good team. Not great, but good. At the end of the day, if the Nets are going to win a title, they've got to beat great teams. You want to tell me that it's unfair to say that they won't beat a great team because you're looking at a 1-game sample size from each team? Okay, that's fair. I mean, any team can be better than any other team on any given day of the week. That's the beauty of sports. But this is a pattern. The Nets losing to these really good teams. I mean, they've beaten good teams. I'm not saying they haven't. They beat the Wizards early in the season. They just beat the Cavaliers. We'll have to see what happens tonight in Cleveland, but winning 2 games against the Cavs in less than a week would be impressive. But when the Nets have had opportunities to really make a statement, to win games against elite teams like the Bulls and the Warriors, they've gotten blown out. That's a problem. I'm not saying that the Nets can't beat those teams in a 7-game series, but seeing how they've played against those teams doesn't exactly make me 100% confident. I mean, quite frankly, Kyrie Irving wouldn't have made a difference in any of these losses. Tell me a loss where Kyrie makes a difference. Maybe the Hornets? They lost by 16. Certainly possible. Maybe the Heat? But that was more of a bench issue than anything else. Opening night, no. Bulls, no. Warriors, no. Maybe you have 1 game, possibly 2 if I'm being generous. That's it. the Nets really aren't missing Kyrie. Again, it's incredible. I mean, what can they do to beat these elite teams? The obvious answer would be convince Kyrie to get vaccinated or have the mandate change. But neither one of those things are going to happen anytime soon. So it's tough to find a magic bullet. It's tough to say definitively, this is the issue. Are there guys getting minutes that shouldn't be getting minutes? Yes, no question. There is no question that in a perfect world, DeAndre Bembry isn't playing as much as he's playing. Same thing with James Johnson, and same thing with Javon Carter. Even though James Johnson really played well against the Magic. He had a double-double. And I like Bembry. Really good defender. The thing is, though, guys who are all defense, no offense, really can't play a ton. You want to have them in there for like 10, maybe 15 minutes at the most? I'm okay with that. You just really can't overdo it. I mean, you've got to be careful who you play those guys with. Think about it. If you're playing those three guys with, let's say, Durant and Harden, the entire defense is going to key in on those two guys and say, you know what, I'll let you shoot this. Go ahead, try to hit it. You can throw Blake Griffin in there too. Yes, he does all the little things, but for the love of mercy, the guy's averaging less than 6 points a game. He's shooting 31.5% from the field. There comes a point when doing all the little things isn't enough. See, the thing is, while they're really not missing Kyrie, they are missing him at the same time. Because the magic bullet that the Nets need is a consistent third scorer. A guy who's capable of going off for 25 points any given night. I mean, that's Kyrie. You're trying to piece it together with guys like LaMarcus Aldridge, Joe Harris, Patty Mills, and Bruce Brown, while you're putting a ton of the load on guys like Durant and Harden. In a perfect world, the Nets would have that third option. It's not a necessity. Again, the Nets are doing fine without Kyrie. But if you want the Nets to avoid nail-biter games, they would add a consistent third scorer. Although the one downside to that could be that you don't focus on defense as much. The Nets' defense this year has been really good. They've given up the 10th least points per game in the NBA at 104.6. They are 4th in opponents' field goal percentage at 43%. 3rd in opponents' three-point percentage, 31% on the button. If and when Kyrie comes back, I want the Nets to stay this focused on defense. Don't just think you can always win 130, 128 games. That's not going to work all the time. Try to win 130, 105 games or something like that. Now you'll notice that I said if and when Kyrie comes back. Clara Wu Tsai is Joe Tsai's wife. She is a co-owner of the Nets. She said that she really looks forward to having Kyrie rejoin the Nets. That's an emphatic statement. That's not a Sherman-esque statement where you hem and haw and really don't give a definitive answer. No, that's saying he'll come back. He will rejoin us. She didn't say when, but would it honestly surprise you if she reached out to people and said what can be done to solve this? She seems like an incredibly smart woman. Very passionate. I don't think that was a slip of the tongue. I think that was something real. Like, he will come back at some point. We don't know when. Again, January 1st is when Eric Adams will be sworn in as the new mayor of New York City. It is possible that he changes the rules so that Kyrie is eligible to play. I've said that for a while. I know he said that he won't do it, but he's a politician. They change their minds all the time. I've said this for a while. I really, really think that Kyrie Irving will come back for the Nets. It'll be interesting to see what happens after that, how long of a ramp-up period he needs, and what happens in free agency. He could opt into his contract. I could totally see that. All the reports are that no NBA team wants Kyrie. So he could say, yeah, I'll show you. I'm accepting my player option. Watch me ball out. Now give me my money. I could see that. All in all, the Nets are in a great spot. Kevin Durant will be back tonight. James Harden finally seems to be getting it going. The Nets are playing really good basketball right now. You want them to be better against the NBA's elite, but there's still time for that to change. And again, there is a difference between a regular season game and a best-of-7 series in the playoffs. And I really think that Kyrie Irving will come back for the Nets at some point. You'll get another one of these shows in 2 weeks. Next week, you'll get a New York Islanders show. Here's hoping they give me something positive to say. UBS Arena is absolutely gorgeous. I was there for both games. But that's not going to save the Islanders from me ripping them a new one if they continue playing like garbage. Regular episodes of the Jacob Valk Show usually come your way every weekday afternoon. But seeing as though Thursday is Thanksgiving, there will be no shows on Thursday and Friday this week. The next show you get from me will be the New York Jets Instant Recap on Sunday. Until next time, I'm Jacob Valk, and always remember, if you disagree with me, you're wrong.